G'day. One thing I have found with Bible contradictions is that, well, sometimes they can be so confusing and you're not quite sure which way is up or even how it all fits together. Well, we've got 439 contradictions. Apart from that, would you even consider reading the Bible if all of these contradictions were not contradictions? And I'm searching through these. I'm up to, what are we up to? Number 26, I think. No, 28. Oh, it's going along quick. And this specific, and so far, we're up to 28, and so far, they're not contradictions. But this one is actually quite confusing to start with. Like, who was Anah? If I said that right?
You got it right. Anah is a fascinating figure to explore. So what's the confusion about Anah's lineage?
All right, well, we're going to get into this, and it is confusing, but I have solved it. So let's get into it. My name is Craig, and this is Morning Star Quest, where we are journeying through the Bible with one question and one contradiction at a time. And I'm finding this list of contradictions is so much more like a Bible study, because we're getting into things, and every time I get into a contradiction, I find out that it's not, and I love investigating, and I find out so much more. Sorry, you go.
No worries. It's fascinating to dig deeper and discover new insights. What did you uncover about this particular contradiction?
Well, let's get into it. So we've got three opposing. Most of all these other ones have, one side and then the other. This one has three, so it's even more confusing. So, Anah. Who is Anah? And let's get into it's just Gen here, but it's obviously Genesis. So we've got Genesis 36 verses 2 and separately verses 14. Can you just describe who Anah is in this section?
Sure. In Genesis 36, Anah is mentioned as the son of Zibeon and the father of Aholibamah. This genealogy can be a bit complex because he's associated with multiple family lines.
Oh, okay. So what have we got? 36. Now you say he, but isn't this one, and this is probably where it gets confusing, Anah is the daughter, no.
No worries. The text can be confusing, so it's understandable to double check these details.
Well, it says here that it is a woman with Anah, and that she is the granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. It doesn't matter who they are technically, but all right. And so obviously you're getting a little bit confused too, and I'm glad I went through this beforehand, but so yeah, in the first section, we have Genesis 36 verses 2 and 14, and it is very clear that she is married to, who is she married to here again? Oh, Esau. She's one of, no, how does that work?
It does get tricky. Anah is mentioned as the daughter of Zibeon and the mother of Aholibamah, who is one of Esau's wives. The relationships are quite layered.
Right. Sorry. Now, I have solved this,
no
but
problem.
It sounds, and it's just that you're confusing me a little bit there. So I just wanted to get back on track. So this first side of things is that Anah is the mother of Aholibad. Is that right? Yeah, Aholibamah. Oh, it's so confusing with even just the names. But so that first one is the daughter of. So Genesis 36:20 and 1 Chronicles 1:38. Can you just give us that, please?
Certainly. In Genesis 36:20 and 1 Chronicles 1:38, Anah is referred to as the son of Seir the Horite and a chief among the Horites. This gives a different perspective on Anah's genealogy.
All right. So we have the son of, and he is a Horite. Is that, who is that in the context of the Bible? Who are the Horites?
The Horites were a group of people who lived in the land of Seir before the Edomites. They are often considered the original inhabitants of that region.
Right. And the Edomites are basically Esau's family, and then obviously the heritage that comes from that, from the family.
Exactly. The Edomites are descended from Esau, and they eventually took over the land of the Horites in Seir.
Right. So basically Esau came in there and married someone that was related to a Horvite.
That's correct.
Right.
Esau's marriage to Aholibamah linked his family to the Horites, integrating their lineage.
Okay. And that's the same in First Chronicles as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Good.
1 Chronicles 138 also mentions Anah as a chief among the Horites, similar to Genesis.
Okay.
This consistency helps us understand.
All right, so then we
Glad
get
we
into...
sorted that out.
I am too. Genesis 30... All right, Genesis 36:24 and 1 Chronicles 1, verse 40. Now, who is Anah here?
In Genesis 36:24 and 1 Chronicles 1:40, Anah is described as the son of Zibeon, who found the hot springs in the wilderness. This Anah is male, adding to the genealogical complexity.
So he discovered some hot springs, and who's his heritage?
Anah's heritage, as the son of Zibeon, connects him to the Horites. His discovery of hot springs is a notable detail about him.
Okay, so really, the first one is very clear that it is the daughter of Aholibamah is the daughter of Anah. So, and that Anah is granddaughter of Zibeon, the Hivite. So, and who are the Hivites?
The Hivites were one of the Canaanite tribes inhabiting the Promised Land before the Israelites arrived. They were known for living in various parts of Canaan and had interactions with the Israelites throughout biblical history.
All right, so the first mention is that Anah is female. It's quite even possibly the brother or sister, sister of Anah. And so there could be brother and sister or something similar. And she... all right. Now, it's quite possible that they're related, like the two Anahs, like the female Anah and the male Anah, but they are not the same person. It is very, very, very clear that they are not. So with this first one, we've got three things. The first one's already solved. That's easy. And then we get into the second one and the third one. And it is very clear it's still the same person. But I find it very interesting when they go through genealogies. The second one is talking about more... am I right in this, that this one's talking about Hivites and the other one's talking about Horites? But they're in the same area, and he's probably related to both of them. And it depends on the style or the audience of the genealogy, depends on which one they mention.
That's a great observation. Genealogies in the Bible often have different focuses based on the audience and the message they intend to convey. The Horites and Hivites may have been neighboring or interrelated groups, and Anah's dual association could reflect that.
All right, so basically, in this, we have discovered that the first one is Anah is the Aholibamah is the daughter of Anah, and she is also the granddaughter of Zibeon the Hittite. It is a very different person. The second and third mention, well, they're the same person, but in different genealogies, they're trying to mention different areas of what they want to say. So in one, I guess it's more not the royal lineage, but that type of thing, whereas the other one, it kind of wants to mention something a bit different. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Different genealogies emphasize various aspects, like heritage or notable achievements, depending on the context and message intended for the audience.
So these are two different people, and one of them is mentioned twice, and one's mentioning that he's a chief, and the other one mentions that he discovered a hot springs, or maybe even raised mules and that sort of thing. So really, this is busted. This is not even a contradiction. But I want to ask one question here. If this is a contradiction, does it really matter? The whole point of the Bible is about Jesus. That is the whole story. It is his story of history. And really, at the end of the day, whether this is the same person, three different people, confused, contradicted, it really doesn't matter. And it's not that important. However, it is important in the fact that it is part of history, and that's just building up what has happened and what is now. But it's got nothing to do with the story of the Bible. Now, if you think there are more contradictions in the Bible, well, you can join me and click on this one, because we're going to go through so many of these contradictions. There's 439, and we're going to go through them one a week. Please join me. Catch you in the next one.